I am Jason Eastley with Politicus USA and the Daily. Welcome to the chat. We are here, we being me in this case. Sarah is normally here. She couldn't be here this week. We are here this week to take your questions, we being me, and talk about what's going on in the world, which today will be the Trump tax cut legislation. Another important thing to remember right off the top, as I said before, for everybody just joining, it's the Ways and Means Committee at 2 p.m. The Agricultural Committee gets started at 7 p.m., and Energy and Commerce gets started at 2:30 with their markups. Democrats are watching this intensely because they want to see exactly what's going to make it into this legislation. Um, as far as whether this is the big make or break point for these bills, it's not. I can tell you right now, whatever the House passes, when they finally get it together and do a bill, will not be the final legislation. They meaning Congress, are going to vote on what the Senate passes. And what the Senate passes could look very, very different from the House legislation. For instance, there are at least 5 Republican senators who are opposed to Medicaid cuts and don't want Medicaid cuts at all. Real quick, Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, Josh Hawley, and I'll bet I'm going to blank on the last 2. But it's the usual standard 4 that are the moderate Republicans plus Hawley that are opposed to Medicaid cuts. There's even people like Mike Crapo in deep red states that are opposed to Medicaid cuts because they know how much people in their states depend on Medicaid. So don't expect the Medicaid issue to be resolved today. Then there's also the battle over if you live in a blue state, especially a blue state urban area, the state and local tax deduction is a really gigantic issue. And that issue, the moderate Republicans in New York, there's 4 of them, and they're leading the charge against what the rest of the Republican Party is trying to do on these cuts, which is limit them. They want a bigger SALT deduction, which runs against the House Freedom Caucus, the conservative hardcore right wing, that wants more cuts and basically nothing for blue states. Um, Rand Paul. Rand Paul, that's a really good question. Rand Paul is opposed to the Medicaid cuts. I don't think Rand's opposed to the Medicaid cuts. He is opposed to other parts of the bill. He also could sink the legislation because remember, Republicans can only afford to lose 3 votes. Anything more than 3, JD Vance can't break the tie. They don't have the majority to pass it. Ask your questions. Your questions are more than welcome. We don't have to just stick to the topic that I was going to talk about today. We can talk about anything you feel like asking. I'm right now, when you see me look away, I'm looking at my computer, looking for the live chat notification so I can get on the live chat here on my laptop and see your questions a little bit better because viewing them on my phone is not the easiest thing in the world. I hope everybody can hear me okay. Whoop. There we go. It's it keeps moving. It depends on the live chat comes in which one of my different inboxes at different times. So I see nothing in the live chat, but I see all you guys arriving. Thank you so much. Whoop, they say I'm upside down, but I think I'm right side up because what I see in the video is me right side up, and what I see on my camera is me right side up. Oh, that's the username. It's upside down. Wait, scared me for a minute after last week's episode where everybody was upside down. If you were here last week, yes, we had ourselves on portrait instead of landscape. Yeah, I see. That's your name. Hi, it's upside down. It's very confusing after last week whenever we literally were upside down and we had to restart the chat and get everybody right side up. Because there's nothing more annoying than trying to watch a live chat or watch anything with the people in the wrong places. Let me get Andy Geiger. Hi, Andy. Tom Huff. Hi, Tom. Welcome to the chat. Yeah, your questions are more than welcome, anybody. So if you got any questions about anything, you want to talk about Trump in the plane, we can talk about Trump in the plane. Very interesting news on Trump in the plane. Schumer is blocking all of Trump's Justice Department nominees because of the plane. Chris Murphy is on the Senate floor right now delivering a speech on Trump corruption. We're going to have more on that on Politicus USA. We're going to have more on Schumer and his blocks of nominees on Politicus USA. I didn't have a chance to really sit in and write today. It is a rainy, rainy day in Western Pennsylvania. So I was trying to get all the lights and everything. Oh, there's Lillian. Hello, Lillian. Welcome back this week. Carol, welcome to the chat. Lynn Costa, hi. Let's see what Lillian has to say on the bribery stuff with the plane. Do you know if anyone can bring a lawsuit against this corruption, or is the SCOTUS immunity thing a barrier? The SCOTUS immunity thing is a barrier. What lawsuit could be brought, which is really interesting, and why there's an inspector general investigation, a lawsuit could be brought as with the plane being a violation of the emoluments clause, and they could theoretically block the government from accepting the plane. They can't block Trump from accepting the plane, from what I believe. They can't. They can block the government and the plane from becoming Air Force One. They can block the plane's official use, which would happen more at the departmental level. Um, the plane seems ideal for hiding surveillance devices. Why, yes, it does, dead man. By the way, you're either the Undertaker or you're not a living person. So either way, nice username. Peter Warren, Mark Mansour. Hi, Mark. James Black, all here. Lori Nelson and Z-Man. Z-Man, hey. Lori Nelson, hi. Yeah, it is a great place for hiding surveillance devices. Unfortunately, the Qataris have already purchased Donald Trump, so I don't know how much they really need to surveil him. They can probably just call him up and ask him, especially since he doesn't use an encrypted phone and he insists on using his own personal cell phone. So I think when it comes to, and by the way, this Middle Eastern trip Trump is on, it just so happens to be all the countries that gave him a big pile of money. So, well, Angie Heitzman here in Minnesota. Hi Angie, how are you? BJ Lund is here. Krisha Zajak is here. So if I got your name wrong, I'm really sorry. Some of you guys, if I get your names wrong, I'm sorry. You can correct me phonetically in the chat if you want to. The Baroness and Lisa G are here. Wow, that sounds like a 1980s synth band. Um, Prince and the Revolution with opening act, the Baroness and Lisa G. But yeah, let's. You guys want to talk about the plane for a while? Let's talk about the plane for a while. The plane is blatantly corrupt, completely illegal, and yeah, I would expect lawsuits are coming. Lawsuits are definitely and almost certainly coming on that. The lawsuits, I don't think my real feeling is I wrote the other day on this. I think that if Democrats end up impeaching Trump, this is such a blatantly illegal act and corrupt act deserving of an investigation. Even if impeachment, as we talked about before, doesn't end up going anywhere, um, who would have standing? That's a really great question, Lillian. There's enough reason to investigate that just on the sheer focus of corruption and protecting the presidency that I think that if Democrats are looking for low-hanging fruit to do an impeachment on, and to get some real serious investigative juice into the kind of corruption that's going on in this administration, they'll start with the plane. The plane is just a great opening for them to go and legally pursue it. Um, I just read that Pam Buddy was a Qatari lobbyist. Yeah, it's true. Pam Buddy did do lobbying for the Middle East. Who would have legal standing in the plane case? That is an interesting question, but because it's a constitutional violation, um, and the emoluments clause, and Congress has to approve any gift. I would guess that if Democrats in Congress, if Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer led a lawsuit, they would have legal standing. Congress would have legal standing to sue the executive branch on this, Lillian. I'm no lawyer, but that based on the separation of powers and what the Constitution says, would seem pretty clear to me. Helen and Paige, hello. Eileen and Kathleen Stahl. I don't think you guys are together. I think they just put you guys together. Hello, Eileen and Kathleen Stahl. It's very nice to see you. Oh, and it's great to see so many of you here already. The plane is one of those deals where we can't do anything. It's literally why the court system was built. And my gut tells me if you're looking at high crimes and potential compromises of the presidency, this if you were to show this case to the founding fathers after you explain to them what an airplane was, what a Qatari is, um, the founders would pretty much say, yeah, that's an impeachable offense. Yeah, you got to get this guy out of here. Um, so that I believe is something that, Democrats, even if it doesn't go anywhere, impeachment in the case of Trump being that the removal is going to be impossible once the Democrats take back the House, if Republicans keep the Senate, or even if they don't, there's not going to be 67 votes to remove Trump from office in the Senate. So impeachment should be looked at more as an investigative tool because remember, Trump may have immunity, but those around him participating in these potentially criminal acts do not. And as we saw with the 1-6 committee, the power of criminal referrals is quite real. I mean, ask Steve Bannon about going to jail. Ask Roger Stone about doing time for this kind of stuff. It has an impact. Oh, the white South African refugees. That's a good one, Marique. Nancy and Robert Cheney have joined. Um, Hi. Talk about the white South African refugees who is sponsoring these people. I'm curious as to whether or not they actually need sponsorship because the Trump administration created a special refugee category for them to give them immediate entry, which they just said June 12th via Caroline Levitt. They just said they're gonna end on June 12th. So this looks like simply simple payment to enter the country. It looks like some rich white apartheid South Africans via Elon Musk are being allowed entry in the country. I don't know. I don't even know if the sponsorship rules apply. That's a great question. I would dig into it. Sarah actually knows a lot more about this one than I do. She did a radio show yesterday and talked about it, and I would have to talk to her, and I'll talk to her, and I'll dig into it. I'm not even sure if they are being sponsored. Everything I've read didn't mention anything about sponsorship. Um, they're being treated as emergency refugees, which is the most laughable thing in the world when this same administration is rounding up actual refugees from areas of the country where they could lose their lives if they went home. Um, yeah, that's a good one, Lillian. What is their complaint? People are objecting to their support for apartheid. I want to know exactly. That's the big thing that they've never been able to answer is how exactly are these people refugees and what kind of persecution are they fleeing from? Jane Jeffries and three other people joined. Well, Jane Jeffries, hello. Three other people, I would love to say hello to you, but Substack has deemed you not worthy of names, apparently. Um, that the white refugees, it just puts it into contrast what this immigration policy is really about, and I think we all know it's racism. This is just simply, and the discouraging thing about it is this is about this is about enough of the country supporting this because remember until a couple of weeks ago or 3 or 4 weeks ago this was an issue that Trump was still above water on until he stopped until he started kidnapping people off the street, he had a net positive approval rating on immigration. Apparently, kidnapping legal residents off the street and sending them to Salvadorian prisons was the line for a lot of people. Otherwise, it must be okay to mistreat people as long as they, I hate to say it, I really hate to say it, but it really does seem like because of the certain people and the countries they're from, a lot of white Americans are fine with it. Um, So Jane Jeffries said white people from South Africa consider themselves refugees because they support apartheid. The white people did not give themselves refugee designation. The Trump administration did. So think about that for a second. Just think about it. This we have a gentleman from Maryland who is banished to a Salvadorian prison who was a legal resident. And the Trump administration says they can't bring him home. He was granted legal residency because he faced the possibility of persecution and death if he was returned to El Salvador. By the courts gave him that residency during the first Trump administration. But the second Trump administration says that rich white South Africans are an oppressed class who deserve a special refugee status. Well, after abducting Obego Garcia and throwing him in a Salvadoran prison. And as Senator Chris Van Hollen likes to say, this isn't about whether or not who these people are necessarily that are being abducted and taken away. The Trump administration is trying to say they're all criminals. Um, it's not. What this is really about is these people aren't getting due process. And if due process rights can be taken away from legal residents and immigrants, and in some cases U.S. citizens and like children, so it can happen to other groups. And I think that's something that the MAGA crowd, the Trump base doesn't quite realize. They're going to get a cold, hard lesson in this on the Medicaid cuts because the Medicaid cuts are going to really, really hammer red states. They're going to hammer the kind of voters, as I wrote for the Daily last night, the kind of voters that swung and voted for Trump. So there's not really any good reason for what they're doing there. Will Americans accept the South Africans? Well, we don't really have a choice. Um, yeah, and Lillian pointed out that these white Afrikaners were just trying to move here, and he called them refugees so they could jump the line. Yeah, and if they had $5 million, they could buy the Trump Gold Card, and apparently anybody can get in the country with the Trump Gold Card for immigration. Jeannie McClellan, hello. Walter Ryan, hi. Nice to see you. We got Christina Andrus and Richard Kaiser. It's so nice. I see some familiar names from last week, but not a lot of different faces, and I'm very happy about that. Welcome to the chat. You're always more than welcome to come and participate and ask questions. The fact that the administration shut this South African program down so quickly, whenever people caught wind of it and the outrage grew, it's a sign that the pressure works. The pressure works on the Trump administration. We all talk about authoritarianism and kleptocracy, and yeah, Trump had definitely those impulses, and if left to his own devices, he would do those things. But our pushback, the pushback of the American people, enough people saying no, enough people, just like with this plane, if enough people make a big enough stink and say no, and everybody gets outraged and the pressure keeps coming, Trump yesterday said, well, he'd be stupid to turn down a free plane. No, you're the president. See, that's the idea of Trump's mentality of Trump always coming first. Trump comes before the country. Now, it's stupid for a president to violate the law and accept a gift so large, which is essentially a bribe. But this is what this country is. Then this is what Trump wants to be. Trump wants to be an authoritarian. It's only your pushback that stops him. You can say, well, the courts stop him, and well, they do. But without people filing lawsuits and pushing back, the courts are just a mechanism, a system. It takes people. It takes people at every step. The security risks are insane. Yes, Betsy, the security risks are insane. They are totally insane for this plane. It's so dangerous. It's so risky to national security, and not imagining the corruption and erosion of the presidency. I mean, the president isn't supposed to accept a gift over, I think, $200 without congressional approval. Trump is accepting a gift worth $400 million. And the worst part of it is, he's then making the taxpayers pay for it to be fitted to be Air Force One. And then, before he leaves office, he's making the taxpayers pay to have it fitted again to be his private plane. Yeah. Up for a better world. Nice username. Trump is fine with selling out our country as long as he believes it will profit him. This is correct. That's what Trump's presidency is actually about. And like we all got I think a lot of us thought that this was about power and control and him never leaving office. Well, twice in the last 2 weeks now, he said that he's leaving office after this term. I don't think this was ever really about power and control for Trump. This was about money. Trump has been singularly driven by money his entire life. He is he is going to try to, as I keep telling Sarah, steal everything that isn't nailed down. He's going to twist and warp and corrupt the presidency to squeeze every dollar he can out of it to put it into his pocket. He's going to take from the rest of us so that he can have more, which is what the tax bill does. That is the whole purpose of Trump's presidency. And when he feels like he's got maybe, I don't know, 40, 50, 100, $200 billion, he'll happily walk away and he'll go off and grift and make some other money that way until the day he dies. Um, Matt Larson and John Brennan have joined us. Hello. Diane Campbell Smith and Charlie M. Hello. Mary Pembleton and the four others who don't necessarily deem worthy of names via Substack. Hello to you. It it is it is a reality grift. Yes. Lillian makes you nostalgic for Teapot Dome. Yes. One thing about Trump is other political scandals are making us realize how quaint those scandals were. I mean, seriously, think about like people having a housekeeper that's an illegal immigrant. People lost cabinet positions for that. I mean, now we have a president who tries to kidnap and deport immigrants who are here illegally while employing illegal immigrants in his own business. That's considered a minor, not even blip on the radar sub scandal. Um, think just so many like various little financial scandals or whatnot. Oh, not filing your taxes, not paying your taxes. Um, Now that's a prerequisite for serving in the Trump administration, I suspect. All scams all the time, Lillian says. That's correct. Everything is a scam. And when Trump does anything, your first question should be not what you can do for your country, but what Donald Trump is doing to you. Um, I like that. So as we move forward, we really have to watch out for the money. Oh, and the prescription drug executive order, total nonsense. You'll notice that after the plane story came out, all of a sudden Trump signs this executive order that he claims is going to reduce drug prices by 50 to 80%. He tried this once, his last term. It got shut down by the courts. Executive orders, I feel like this is burned into my brain now, and I wake up every morning saying this. Even before I say good morning to my loved ones, executive orders are not laws. Executive orders only apply to the executive branch. Trump cannot sign an executive order and tell drug companies to lower their prices. Although, as Bernie Sanders said, he could, however, get Republicans within a minute to negotiate with Democrats on legislation that would lower prescription drug prices. But he won't do that. This because, he's not really here to help anybody but himself. Oh, we got some more joinies. Joe Cap and Aaron Phil. I hope I pronounced that right. Nora. Oh, I'm gonna give it a try. Renzulli and Nancy Bailey. Welcome. Story Carrier and George Lader. Hello. Taryn Phelan. Hello. I'm so glad to see you guys all here. Remember, I write at Politicus USA and I write the Daily. If you're not a subscriber, please support us by subscribing. It would mean so much. I'm not one of those people. It's some rich journalist on a Substack for fun or a media personality. I'm just a guy. Sarah and I are just people who write. We're regular people living in a regular house in a regular place. Your support keeps us going. So thank you for supporting us if you do. Thank you for tuning into this chat. We're still going to keep going for a little bit longer because people are still coming in. Wow, you guys, I think, just set a new record here for us. We've only been doing this for a few weeks, and I think you guys just passed our record. It's going to be, I'm going to try to get something up for you guys, either as Politicus USA subscribers or the daily or everyone. Uh, Sarah and I want to try to do, Sarah's going to be here every other week because she's got other commitments. And so she can't be here with us every week. Every other week, she's going to be here every other Tuesday at 11 a.m. Uh, Otherwise, it'll be me. I'm going to try to do some short stuff each day for Politicus USA and the Daily. Just kind of pop in and say hi to you guys. Uh, Nora says, thank you and appreciate your work and words. Oh, thank you. Lillian, interacting with chat is very cool. Feels like we are engaging. I feel the same way. I love doing these things. I haven't really been very comfortable other streaming video platforms, but there's something about interacting with you guys here on Substack that I really enjoy. I try to keep it casual. I'm not a newscaster. I'm not a professional broadcaster, but I'm the person who hopefully, if you come over and read anything I write, at least you get to put me, my face, my voice with those words. So, if you think, oh man, Jason's really full of crap today, well, this is the guy you're calling full of crap. So, the other stuff, I'm really fascinated by the markup of this legislation, and Democrats this is the moment, as I put in the title for this. This is the moment that really could cost Republicans the House, because these votes today are going to make up the final House bill, and the House is going to pass this bill, unless there's some sort of rebellion by one of the factions. They're going to get this thing passed, and then it's going to go through massive changes in the Senate. This thing is going to cost us $3.7 trillion at minimum, $4.2 trillion according to the CBO. And that's, excuse me, including their cuts. This is going to cost us billions of dollars. And by the way, when Republicans say that this is going to be permanent, okay, they're full of it. I've been watching Poker Face with my better half. And so I will say what Charlie Coyle on Poker Face says, what you hear is a lie. Bullshit. It's bullshit. Nothing is permanent in politics, legislatively. When Democrats take back power, they can get into that tax cut bill and they can put an expiration date on those Trump tax cuts, edit the legislation. And that's it. So, the permanent quote unquote Trump tax cuts for the rich are really tax cuts for the rich until 2029. But these Medicaid cuts, we can't have 14 million people losing their health insurance, especially when many of these people are working. Many of these people, they're going to try to keep people with disabilities in coverage, but you notice what they never say? They never say how much coverage, what kind of coverage is going to happen. Oh, we got some more questions here. Lillian, do you think the ones in purple areas will pay a price in 2026 for the vote on the harmful budget bill? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. If they vote for this monster, they're going to lose their seats. This is how waves are built. Jane Jeffries, where is Congress in any of this? Are they doing anything or just sitting in silence? On the plane? Well, Jane might have joined us. I think Jane did join us a little late. Chuck Schumer's responded to the plane by blocking all of Trump's Justice Department nominees in the Senate. That's something really big, actually. Lexi Reed, hi. Ann Higgins, hi, Ann. Nice to see you. Thank you for stopping by. How can we stop this? The plane. How can we stop the plane? Well, we need to make sure that our members of Congress know that they need to file a lawsuit to block this plane from becoming Air Force One. I'm not sure, because of the whole Supreme Court immunity thing, if we can really block Trump from accepting the plane as a personal gift. Oh, and by the way, assigning the plane to his foundation is a scam just to avoid paying any taxes. The plane isn't going to his Presidential Library Foundation. The plane's going to be his. He's not going to stick the plane in his library. he's going to use it. And then he's probably going to sell it. Uh, Phil Cairns, hello. Carol Croft, hello. Stephen Beneke, hi. And like I said, if I get anybody's name wrong, you guys always be free to correct me in the comment in the chat. I will tell you how I will pronounce it correctly. I will apologize. The library is a website. Lillian, you know where the library is going to go. I think we all know where the library is going to go. The library is going to go at on Mar-a-Lago. And he's gonna take the allocation for the presidential library and he's gonna pocket it and throw some junk in a corner at Mar-a-Lago like it's a stash of classified documents and call it a library. Sue Evans, 4 books. 4 books is I don't know. Has Trump ghostwriters written 4 books for him? They might be. Well, it might be 4 books, Lillian. Marilyn Schramm. How can we block the loss of Medicaid for millions who depend on it? Okay, now this is where things get pretty crazy. That's from For a Better World. I'm for a better world too. Uh, how can we block this? That's going to happen in the Senate. The Senate needs just enough of a little nudge to make sure that they vote no on this. Actually, they strip it out of the bill. The Medicaid changes, which are work requirements, which will get millions of people out of there. And I don't know if you're on Medicaid right now. Um, you you don't. The verification process happens for your income and stuff maybe once a year. They want to do twice a year because they're trying to trip people. Because if you miss your verification appointment, they'll try to throw you off Medicaid, whether you have a disability, whether you're a senior, whether you're a child. That is that's the plan. That's how they get rid of so many people. But a lot of the people that are going to get cut out of Medicaid right away in the first wave came during the Biden expansion, and they're working poor. These are not people that are milking the system. What really upsets me is the idea that Republicans keep saying in the House they wanted to just go to people that the most needy of people who they define as disabled. They want to define disability, and that's dangerous. That is very dangerous because that means some people with very serious medical conditions could lose their health and their vital health coverage to keep them alive because Republicans decide that they are not, quote, disabled enough. That's what we're going to fight against here. Linda Palmer. Hi, Linda. Linda says about Qatar, during his first administration, he said Qatar was a terrorist repository. Well, until the check cleared, they probably were. Once the check cleared, they're okay with him. That's the way this corrupt president works. Carol Slotkin, hi. Scott Phillips, welcome to the chat. Patricia Andrews in Washington. Nice use of putting your state there. And Dawn Houghton, I hope that's what WA means. If it doesn't, I'm really sorry. Marilyn D. and Wayne Cordes are both here. Greg Fuchs. Hi, Greg. I think you were at our last chat. Wesley E. Baker, 111, which is a way better number than 666. That will kind of freak me out. Lillian, Lillian has a great comment here, sending us back to the 19th century and the worthy poor. The concept of the worthy poor, part of my graduate research, was poor people's movements, popular movements, and their impact on public policy. One of the subsections was poor people's movements. The concept of the working poor, the worthy poor, has never gone away. Especially in conservative circles, but it's also culturally in the United States. There are people, there's just this mentality that people are responsible for their own poverty. It's all their own fault. And some people are deserving of help and some people aren't. Um, you know, it's been with us basically since the founding of not the founding of the country, yes, because we had indentured servitude, but more so the establishment of our current governmental system and the growth of aid programs, as William said, in the 19th century. This is it's a horrible concept. It's a cultural stereotype. This is the same thing though that got Donald Trump elected. The notion that someone is qualified because they have money, no matter how they got the money. You know, rich people are not smarter than everybody else. Donald Trump is living proof. Elon Musk. You can stumble your way into money and not necessarily be right. Kathleen J. Wiener. Hello. Dave Rank. Hi. I like to say hi to as many people as I can here. Catherine Aker just joined. Boy, this is great, you guys. I'm so happy to have you here. And eventually, we'll maybe if I get my schedule together, we'll sit together and have a cup of coffee or tea or whatever your morning beverage is, and we'll talk about the state of the world, um, or at least the state of our little corner of the world. Barbara Brennerman, hello. I hope I got that last name right. See, this is what fills me with anxiety is getting someone's name wrong. Uh, so that's just something that's kind of been kicking around my head. I do tend to. It took a long time for Sarah to kind of really long time for Sarah to get me to step up and start doing videos and stuff because I tend to get focused on writing and kicking out stories and things, and I really love to write. And so, I tend to kind of let everything slide. Like we probably need to do the podcast, but I think the podcast is going to be more of these videos. But yeah, when there's a delay on things, it's usually me taking time. Oh, hope matters. Happy to find you. Love what you're talking about and how you're saying it. Oh, thanks. Thank you so much. That is so great to hear. You know, it's kind of hard to have the Sarah's the media professional. I'm not. So it's kind of like having the, oh, Lillian, great point. You're on the West Coast. But it's kind of like having the training wheels off and me out here pedaling with you to see how we do. Lillian says, make sure you allow for those of us on the West Coast 3 hours behind. So, if we do something like that in the morning, we should probably do it around 11 or so. Uh, I think that would probably be best for us. Um, but I'm really enjoying talking to you. And I'm happy that so many of you are chatting. Like I said, for those of you who are joining late, when I look away, I'm checking the chat here on my laptop on my lap. So I'm not disrespecting you at all. I'm making eye contact. I'm happy to see you. What I think is, I really think that and this is kind of crazy, I think this legislation, this so called big, beautiful bill, isn't getting enough attention. One of the problems when something is so big and unwieldy as what Republicans are trying to pull off is it also makes it hard to define and easy to cover. And as we all know, our media often wants things broken down to the simplest possible form. Something they can put into a 1 minute clip or a soundbite, or something they can talk about for one segment of 8 minutes. This bill isn't that. I mean, I could spend an hour talking to you about the Medicaid provisions, and I could spend an hour talking about the tax cut provisions, and then we could talk about the environmental cuts. There's just so much we could discuss forever, and that's kind of like why this is a little bit undercovered. Yeah, they do keep. Lillian says they keep morphing it to try to obscure the destructive parts, which is why it's up to us to make sure that everyone knows the destructive parts. Gail Shields Miller, hi. Oh, we have just set a new record as far as live attendees. Thank you guys so much. This is all going to be available for replay. It's going to be up as a post if you want to watch it later. I'm going to write something about it. Uh, Great to hear from people who are not necessarily pros, but can help us break down and make sense of the chaos. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I may not be a media professional, but my education is in political science, public policy, and public administration. So yeah, I can talk about this stuff. Uh, Skyjam Kowalski. What a great name. You've joined. Thank you very much. Well, guys, I think it's time for me to get out of here and start writing some stories. I really enjoyed talking to you. I'll be back up for 5 or 10 minutes tomorrow for the Politicus folks. Oh, we got some more people joining. See, every time more people join, I feel like I need to keep talking longer. I don't want to shortchange anybody, but it's about time for me to go. I will see you tomorrow. I'll be watching Politicus and the Daily. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe, and we will do the best we can, giving you everything we got to untangle the knots of our crazy political world. Oh, yeah, I can put for a better world before we go. Can you share a script we can use to call our Senate members to oppose this disaster bill? Yeah, I can write something up real quick for you on that. We'll try to put it, I'll tell you what, we will put that in the daily for a better world. That'll be one of the free posts on the daily. And that way it'll be available to everybody. Polly 3004, hello. Hope matters. Will do. Look forward to seeing you next time. Nice. Okay, so thank you, everybody. Keep your eyes open for us because we will be here doing more of everything, actually, about this crazy time we're in. I will talk to you later. Thank you for joining us. Please subscribe. Please keep reading. And please, most importantly, keep engaged. Thanks. Oh, I'm trying. Oh, look, the chat's not in for me.